I declare war. Today I'm going to do a response to Painless Risen's video entitled We Are the Better Men. And I saw this video a couple of days ago and I had to do a response because this video represents a sickness in our community. It represents the house Negro frame of mind. Brother Malcolm X told us about the house Negro and the field Negro. He talked about how the house Negro lived in the house with the master, how the house Negro ate the best scraps from the master's table, how the house Negro loved the master more than he loved his own self. The house Negro spoke good diction compared to the field Negro. The field Negro worked out in the field. The field Negro worked under the worst conditions. The house Negro loved the master so much, but hated his own people. See, and that's the mentality of people like Painless Risen and the people that he referred to as the better men. Those men are actually the lesser men, the inferior men, because they have bought into the myth and lie of white supremacy. These people don't identify with their community. They disassociate themselves from the community. They talk about the community as if they are not a part of the community. They talk about the community as if they are actually white racists. And in Painless Risen's video, his whole video was filled with a lot of negative stereotypes about black people. He talked about drug dealing. He talked about people spreading their seed. He talked about jail. He talked about black people not having fortitude or patience or maturity. All of that stuff is just stereotypes. It's riddled with nothing but stereotypes. And he acts as if people have an issue with him because he lives in Hawaii or because he's in the military or because he was able to advance in life. He claims that that's why people have an issue with him and those like him. That is not why people have an issue with him. They have an issue with him because of his self-hatred, because of his utter contempt for his own community. This man hates his community so much, he actually says that there is no black community. There is a black community. And if you feel that there is no black community, you need to stop talking about a black community. You need to stop doing videos addressing that community or our community. We are one people. We don't have to agree on all the issues. Black people don't have to agree on everything, just like other groups of people don't agree on every single issue. But the fact of the matter is, we are a community. What makes us a community? We are a community by our common bonds and our common history. We have a common history of slavery. We have a common history of Jim Crow. We have a common experience with racism in this country. We come from a common land, and we come from a common section of the continent of Africa. Many of us come from the west coast of Africa. We have common ties, common cultural ties, common traditions as a people. We are a community. Whether you acknowledge it or not, we are a community. And for you to try to defend, a damn Sambo like Tommy Sotomayor, who actually says, basically forget the black community. He basically has nothing but contempt for the black community. And he talks about how he wouldn't feel any kind of way if something bad happened to a black person. He talks about how he doesn't want to associate with black people. And that's the same mentality that you have. You don't want to be associated with your own people because you have self-hatred. You suffer from house Negro syndrome. You despise yourself and you despise your people. You talk about how you don't owe an allegiance to your people. You disavow your membership in the community. If you disavow the black community, stop talking about the black community. Just shut the hell up when it comes to black issues if you have no allegiance to this community. See, people like you and these so-called better men, which I call lesser men, are nothing but tools of oppression. You know, as I said in another video, you people like you are just mouthpieces of racism. You say all the racist things about black people that white people wish they could say without being attacked. And you are under attack, rightfully so, because you are a scourge in the community. You are a traitor to your community. You are an enemy of your community. Every community, every nation has a way of dealing with its traitors. And you are a traitor when you get on YouTube and bash your own people and perpetuate lies and stereotypes. You obviously have no knowledge of your history, because if you did know your history, you would know that we are a great people. You would know that we have fortitude, patience, and maturity. If we didn't have those things, we wouldn't have made it this far. We wouldn't have made it from slaves to becoming congressmen and mayors and governors, scientists, doctors, lawyers, inventors, business people. We wouldn't have made it this far if we didn't have patience, if we didn't have maturity, if we didn't have fortitude. We are strong and mighty people. Any other weak people who went through what we did, they would have been destroyed. They would have been annihilated. We survived the Middle Passage. We survived Jim Crow. We survived. We are the survivors, in the words of Bob Marley. So for you to call us weak or say that we lack patience and fortitude and maturity just shows how much you don't know about your own people and how much you hate yourself. See, you are the person that Carter G. Woodson talked about in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro. In his book, he said, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. That's you, Painless. That's you accepting the back door and, distancing yourself from your people. Loving to be around your slave master while you condemn your people in the field. And your mindset represents like a bourgeois mentality where you look down upon the people who are less fortunate. You look down upon your brothers and sisters. You need to wake up. And it's a shame, I thought you were making a little bit of progress in one of your videos where you were talking about Michael Dunn. You acknowledged that he should have been convicted, or, you took that kind of position. But it looks like you've put your tap dancing shoes back on. You acknowledged that you had your tap dancing shoes on, and now, again, it looks like you put them back on. And that's a damn shame and a disgrace. See, you can't be a better man when you sell out your own people, when you become a puppet, a mouthpiece for self-hatred and racism. You're not a better man, and people like you are not better men. You are a lesser man, and they are lesser men.